Episode number 63 of Wassup Flobo After Hours. It's a Monday night delight. I'm live up here in the treehouse, having time of my life. My thumbs are sore because I was playing Rocket League all afternoon, all evening, and probably all night. You know, this show's been going on for just a little bit while, but this show will not be possible with the contributions of people on our Patreon. The Boisterous Crew is what we call them, patreon.com/FloboBoys. You guys make the show a reality. So as always, gotta give a shout out to Christopher C, Chrissy H, ACH, Edric P, Oliver E, Princess Leia, Matthew C, John W, Richard R, and Lindsay U. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. And 63 episodes. I can't go this long without bringing my man back. This guy has his own show, 1,000,001 episodes. I asked him how many episodes he's up to. He's up to over 400. Combat sports, wrestling, and everything in between. Please give it up to a corner woods, Adam.
Adam. Hi, folks. You guys are interrupting my reading time, but there's a great book on Amazon called Graduation Day by F. Flobo Boys.
Yeah, okay.
And you guys should be reading it. I learned how to read just to read this fine periodical, right? That's what we're going with.
I don't know, man.
So Graduation Day, it's something that I literally fought COVID to get out of so I can read and then learn how to read because I missed out there on Sesame Street. So again, pick this up on Amazon. If you already have it, send it to a friend. I did. One of my childhood friends who's currently incarcerated, unfortunately, he was like, I need some motivational stuff. I sent it to him like that day. So again, Graduation Day by F. Flobo Boys. I can't recommend it enough.
The book is legit, and it is available on Amazon, although I didn't want to make it an infomercial thing. Oh, what up, Sue? Thanks for watching the show. Appreciate you. Well, Adam Woods, you mentioned it, man. I got to ask you, man, how are you feeling? Because last time I saw you, you posted the results on that social media, man. What's that journey been like?
Oh, man, I am great. Thankfully. I say, again, thankfully, because, like, I've got a friend out in, she grew up, like, here in L.A., but her and her family had moved out to first Kansas, and then I think they're in Maryland now. Hi, Kirsten. Hi, James Out Jr. Hi, everybody on Twitch. Yeah. No, she's had COVID, like the symptoms that I had at the very worst, since January, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And this is like a 3rd-degree black belt in a bunch of different martial arts and what have you. Used to run 5 miles a day, and even by her husband's self-admission, basically walked up until the day she gave birth 5 miles a day, and she couldn't even make the trek, the 10, 15 feet trek to her bathroom. So all intents and purposes, I'm good. So good that my son, who will be actually turning 14 tomorrow, or 2 hours from now, regardless of how you count it. He's a fellow Rocket Leaguer, much like yourself.
Best game ever.
Yes, but yeah, we both tested negative the final time we tested Wednesday, and then got the negative result Thursday at 4:01 a.m. So right at the butt crack of dawn. So yeah, all intents and purposes were good. I actually did a second quarantine because I went to GCW, highest in the room. That was the first. Yes, I know. But I also had a negative test there as well. I tested within like 24 hours, negative test.
I'm shaking my head at GCW, not the fact you left your house.
Oh, you put on fucking Minoru Suzuki and Jonathan Gresham, and then come talk to me.
This is definitely worth it. So hold on. So this is your first time battling COVID or second time?
No, this is a first time. So first time, right? And literally, like I got my negative test 2 Thursdays ago. I guess it would say, right? Well, the
Yeah.
first negative test, and then Friday I'm at GCW, and then my wife was like, "Oh, fucking take your ass to the room," and I was like, "I already know." Took a shower, whatever, and then tested again this past Wednesday, and then got the test Thursday. So I did 2 quarantines, totaling about 6 weeks.
Let me ask you a personal question. Is it kind of weird having your wife be the referee and be like, "Yo, nah, you got to go on
No,
that side of the house now"? Like,
no. And Flobo, you know me well enough to know I need somebody to fucking reel me in, right? I love the
true.
fact we were, none of my family liked the punchy, kicky, slammy stuff. Why? Because I would be so inundated with it. I'd have like warts and everything, and like wouldn't shower, and I'd be fucking watching every type of pro wrestling, MMA stream, pancrase, kumite, whatever, at
Yeah.
all hours of the night. Like I'm not a regular person. Like
Who is
I've
regular,
I've
really?
got a helmet, is what I'm saying. I store it in a cubby close by.
Yeah.
But it doesn't fit the headphones. I took it off to be with you, but
Right, right.
otherwise, the brain is not fully formed.
Oh,
But with that all being said, yeah, I love the fact that my family kind of reel me in when I go. Shit, all behind me is world of MMA figures and Jim Cornette and
you wait. He
like
has an action figure. What?
yes,
What?
New Jack, and
Wait,
I
hold on.
just
Who thought it was a good idea to put a 6-year-old white guy from the South into an action figure? He's not even a Duke of Hazard.
that's just okay. That's that one, and then there's also that's New Jack, obviously, rest in peace. But there's the Christmas edition.
Wow.
So I got two cornets.
You bought. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No judgments here. I don't kink shame. I don't hobby
Hey,
shame.
no. I'm just like I just buy weird stuff because I'm a kid at heart. There's a Mark Coleman for UFC heavyweight champion, Pride, whatever. I just buy the shit that I couldn't because, like, for the most part, I lived maybe out. I mean, on the floor and on the couch of many family members, and if we weren't that, we were in homeless shelters and what have you when we left the Bay in
Sure.
like 1993. So I've never really had like the normal childhood or a place to call home until I met my wife and got married, had kids, and everything like that. So I just fucking buy this shit. I mean, there's a Mean Gene Okerlund, like,
Is that popcorn?
no,
What is
it's a
that?
damn. I keep him in the package, but it's a Mean Gene Oakland like wrestling buddy.
Wait. So is it inflatable or is it?
No,
No, it's
it's
not
like a
inflatable.
wrestling buddy. It's a stuffed. He's not an animal, obviously, but
Okay, so if you guys ever heard of wrestling buddies, right? There was a thing in the '90s where there were actual wrestlers. There was like
80s, I think, right? No.
late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah,
I'll say
yeah,
late '80s because it was like Ultimate Warrior was in one, right?
yeah.
They're basically like a doll, but like this big. You can like wrestle them, but like no one wants to wrestle the announcer guy or the interviewer guy. That's kind of weird, don't you think?
So
Like, no, not weird for you buying it. Weird that they made it.
He's still in the package, as is Raven behind me. Quote the Raven Nevermore.
What about me?
Yes, but I almost bought the Tommy Dreamer, and then I saw the Dark Side of the Ring, and I was like, maybe not.
What's wrong with a guy who totally ruins his own career on camera?
Oh, I do it every fucking podcast. Like I've pretty much like come to terms where I'm not going to be working for ESPN, UFC, WWE, AEW, any of the major promotions, nor do I want to. Not to say that I don't like any of that. Not to say I don't have you
Yeah,
just as well. I'm speaking to the choir. We've got friends that work in all of those places: front
true.
office, fight floor, performers, what have you. And I want to see everyone do well. Total disclosure: I'm a shareholder of both the WWE and Endeavor, UFC's, parent company, as well
Right.
as Viacom, which is Bellator's, parent company. But with that all being said, not all of it I dig, right? So,
Right.
like, but I have the Mean Gene Okerlund, right? I have a Rogan figure somewhere around here, and I look to this, to come almost draw inspiration for what I'm about to do. And again, I could get canceled, I could get what have you for dumb shit, but like also getting on the other side of like a near death experience, like I understand where Howard Stern was when he was getting kicked off of perpetually off of the radio and then ends up going to Sirius, and the freedom to do that, right?
Let me follow up on that question real quick because that you said something really important to me. But
Yeah,
Haywood's his first. He goes, "Come on, Mean Gene's an icon." Haywood, I'm not saying Mean Gene Oakland is an icon, but a wrestling buddy is made to be wrestled with. The guy is an announcer. Would you get a wrestling buddy of the guy in accounting? Well, if he's IRS, maybe. But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird to me. Okay, so you mentioned near-death experiences, right? And I understand that that could be a lot for a lot of different people. Has that changed your perspective this time around? Are you like, or is this kind of like unleashing layers that was already there? What
yeah.
was your experience like?
That second one, man, unleashing layers. Like I said, like I don't, I don't think I had, I didn't feel like I was comfortable telling my origin story because as it's not as an interviewer, right, or a podcaster. It's not really about you. It's about your guests. And then if you can, in when you're doing long form, pieces of content like you and George Ramosa and James Lott Jr. and so many of you former After Buzzers, do, which again, you guys are my heroes. But with that all being said, you know, it's it's kind of weird to kind of come back, right? And I it sounds cliche. You see your life flash before your eyes, right? But
It
that's
does.
exactly what happened over the course of 3 out of the 6 weeks. Three out of the
Okay.
6 weeks, I was like deep and like I. There was 12 times, and I counted it, and it's weird. I don't know if anybody's into numerology. I'm not, but I know 12 is a significant number. But
Uh
12
huh.
times, I shut my eyes, and I was just like, I hope that like it's clean. My death is clean. No pus coming out of my mouth. No blood coming out of my ears or whatever. So if my wife and kids eventually found me because I'm not answering my phone or they're pounding on the window or what have you, that it won't be as traumatic as just my death, right?
Right.
So with that all being said, once you get on the other side of that, you kind of see what's real. Also, man, my hallucinations were fucking out of this world. I
Tell me
couldn't
about them.
look, I couldn't look at my phone without the aliens. Like aliens were talking to me,
Like
and
Green
they're
Men?
like, they weren't green, they're gray. They're
Oh, I'm
gray.
sorry.
At least the
Okay.
ones I saw. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah,
no
yeah.
discriminatory against
I
aliens.
no.
Like, yeah,
Okay.
but hey, my mom died
Canceled.
in my mom died in an illegal alien because there's no
That's
pathway.
not
If
those aliens.
yeah, there's no pathway to the citizenship, as the narrative will tell you. But with that all being said, yeah, it's that, right? I'm a immigrant son, right? My mom from Fiji, and speaking. Yeah, you are too, right?
Hmm.
Wearing Jamaica on your back, right?
Oh, Barbados.
Barbados. Oh
Mm.
shit, even better. Fuck yes. You guys had
Sorry,
some
Jamaica.
awesome. Yeah, sorry, Jamaica. Right, we just did a Kofi Kingston on you, Jamaica. That's a
Oh
double
yeah,
turn. That's a
exactly.
double turn.
The
But no,
deep
with
cut.
that all being said, it's just like I've kind of even the 12 deaths, it theoretically and metaphorically speaking, that I kind of went through over the course of 3 of the 6 weeks, right? But I kind of have already done it. I was a kid living in San Francisco, no care in the world. My dad was a street musician. We played at Fisherman's Wharf Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Beautiful city.
That's one of the reasons why I couldn't be involved in sports because yeah, I could practice and everything, but game days were Saturday. We're at Fisherman's Wharf, 45 minutes away, entertaining tourists and passerbys and what have you, right? And then my parents got into it and what have you. We go to Fiji for a bit, where my mom's from. Doesn't work. There's domestic stuff, equal. And then we come back to the Bay for a little bit, then we end up in Indiana, where my dad's from. That's again another death, right? I never went back to San Francisco. Well, I went back to San Francisco, but not never Fisherman's Wharf ever again, right?
Right.
How many friends and family members you said bye to and never saw them again?
Right.
Like
Right.
those are things, right? And never really feeling fitting in, right? Fiji, California kid, and now I'm in South Bend, Indiana, and this isn't the Pete Buttigieg mayor South Bend, Indiana. This is like early '90s and whatever, and there's stars and bars, and then the gangsters and what have you, and just a tough Midwestern, farmers and people that were dejected from the what is it, the vehicle, the Detroit stuff and everything like that, and
Right.
they hadn't had a job in like 20 years. So it's just like really gritty. And then going to Vegas, being homeless in Vegas, and moving to Georgia, kind of getting beat up by classmates in Georgia because they didn't understand what the hell I was. I might as well have been an alien. Same thing with Las Cruces, New Mexico. And then we dropped to LA in August of '96. My mom, my sister, who's 3.5 years younger than I, and me. And I remember going to the 7-Eleven on Manchester and Gravilla.
Been
No, I'm
there.
sorry. I'm not
Going to
Gravilla.
Manchester?
Inglewood Ave, right? In Inglewood,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And my mom sending me, when you could still do it, sending me as a 9-year-old kid to get her Dunhill Red cigarettes, right? And I
Yeah.
get pocket check, gun against my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 9, they couldn't be more than 14, right?
Right.
Wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt, but we live on Oak and Regent, and it's a blood neighborhood, and my cousin snatched me before I could even get out the house. So
Yeah.
again, these theoretical deaths that have occurred in my life, but
Right.
mainly the ones of the last 4 months, kind of caused me to reevaluate and revitalize what the fuck I'm doing.
JLJ Media says, I appreciate more the year I how often he was paralyzed. JLJ is a friend
Yeah.
of the show, very open with his bout with Bell palsy. He says, you really come out, these experiences changed. Now, if we can go as deep as you want. I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but
Let's do it.
you said it yourself many different times where in alternate universes like Doctor Strange, there's 14 million ways that you could have died. It is actually a nice party game, a really dark one you can play and goes, how are you still alive? When you think about all the different times you almost died and you didn't die. But you said the last 4 months. So it wasn't just COVID. Was there anything else that was on that mix too that was affecting the near death experience balance?
No. I mean, it was definitely the COVID. I mean, I dropped a tad bit of weight. I'm in the 10, 15 pound range. I was like 240, COVID weight, whatever. I'm kind of, shed about 15, 20 pounds of that. Um, and I'm like, shit, I was just on the assault bike because, again, that's one of the many COVID purchases that I made is a road fucking, the shit that CrossFitters use and what have you. But, I'm taking my health a little bit more seriously, and also I just can't eat the portions that I used to, so
Right.
if there's a whole lot of things that are shifting, right? It's almost like an earthquake of my life, right? The plate shifting, right? It's like a fracking of the life. Some gas and whatever comes out and seeps to the surface and
This
what
is a
have
very
you.
specific and nerdy reference, but I'm hearing you. I got you.
Yeah, yeah. But so with that all being said, here's a bit of breaking news. I don't think I've said this publicly, but I think I might be retired from doing live shows and live interviews.
Whoa! You mean like a court in the woods? You're done.
Well, I know. I mean, going to shows. Now, I will always
Yeah.
do the studio thing,
Yeah.
right? But I think my time is done, and at least until COVID either kind of calms down or what have you. I believe that I caught it, and I don't have any proof. I don't want to hurl allegations, but there was a time where I might have taken my mask off to maybe do an interview.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there was a person, no one else, would bulldog choke me. And for those who might be pro wrestling fans and might not get the MMA reference, well, I think it's the Captain's Hook, Brian Kendrick's move. Go ahead and check that out. That's what that guy was doing to me. He was coked out, like residue here, what have you.
Right.
Just not in the best of mood. And this dude would catch me, and he overpowered me, write it out, whatever. Urgh. Like, you got to interview my guy, blah, blah, blah. Literally talking into my mouth. I told my producer, and I was like, yo, bro, if I get COVID, it's probably because of this motherfucker. And I don't know for sure, but the fact of the matter is, I went to an early, like, we got out of the venue at 3 a.m., right? Went to breakfast with a bunch of the referees and what have you. Nobody else got COVID. My sister and my nephew were around me because I took my nephew to uh, football. He was playing in Snoop Dogg's little Pee Wee League, right? Saw one of my friends, James the Beast Wilson, right? His highlight videos by him KOing people, it was like 3 minutes long on YouTube.
Right.
Him and his kids who played, his kids play in the same league, none of them. Everybody that I was around tested negative, but
Right.
me. I don't know that particular coach if he ever tested or got symptoms.
So when you say you were choked by the guy, was it roughhousing or he was really trying to
Yeah, it's
physically
rough. It's
assault?
rough. I mean, it's combat sports, right?
Well,
So
I'm trying to figure out. You said
hey,
coke was involved, so it's hard to tell what it was for
not with
playful.
me, with him. And
Okay.
that's always the case with him.
Yeah,
He
yeah, I know.
literally
Yeah.
will have residue. And if that's your jam, kudos,
I can't
whatever.
afford cocaine, so no drugs for me.
I I don't even know what the hell it is. So I mean, I kind of there was a time I passed out under the second biggest MMA promotion's cage and slept there for probably about 4 hours because I had an edible. Like I don't smoke. I don't like. I advocate for all of that, whatever. But like, I kind of don't do it. Um, and yeah, I slept under the cage, the second biggest MMA promotion in the world,
Oh,
for
for a
four
single
hours.
edible.
Alpha single edible. I'm a lightweight. A Tylenol, like a half a Tylenol, will put me
Yeah.
out. Like I'm a lightweight. I can drink you probably under the table, but like
You know I'm
that's
part Scottish too, right? I'm just letting you know. We
so
we drink.
I've got Fijian tinge of Irish, uh, Cherokee, and Chickasaw, Tongan, Samoan, and Fijian. So I mean,
I don't want that smoke anymore, guys. I was.
let's just let's
I
just
don't want
say
that
I
smoke.
might
I
have
can't
an
do it.
extra set of kidneys, is what I'm saying. No, but like
Imagine
I
that.
said, uh, it kind of caused me to reevaluate. And the first thing that I ended up doing, right, is making sure my wife wasn't really ready to be around me yet. And of course, like she's been pretty much a really good advocate for safety during this whole like 20-month time since March 7th, 2020, right? So this second thing I did was set up podcasts again. I think within that first week, I think I logged in 20 hours of live content.
How'd you do that with the stamina issues of like your respiratory system being
I kind
taxed
of
by
gutted
the
it. I gutted it through.
like nausea and all that?
Yeah, I just kind of and I did it from my phone. I didn't have my computer or whatever, so you can see the kind of shakiness and there's I'm speaking in between breaths, but that was my exercise. Now I could have got one of those. I was born with underdeveloped lungs, so I could have got one of those thingies and
I got one of
whatever.
those.
That
I'm
yeah,
not-
right. I could have got that, but I was just like, let me just do this, and
Fair enough.
that's the end result is what we have here.
Well, the fact that you're here to talk about it is amazing, man. Because I know it was a rough recovery, but the rough way you got it was kind of like well, allegedly got it. I'm not trying to sue anybody.
Allegedly,
Allegedly, I'm not trying to
right?
get sued here.
No,
We got questions here from Charlene,
sure.
friend of the show. She asked thoughts about Nick Diaz return and UFC pay, UFC fighter pay.
No, 100%. So here's the thing. You had John Jones, and even before John Jones, guys like Tyron Woodley, right? They fought one of the Paul brothers and what have you to disastrous results. They were
Got a
to
tattoo on his finger. Ugh.
yes. Oh, I saw that. I don't even know what the fuck that's about, but whatever. I got a this passing glance, right? I was still pissed off at the fucking Finn Balor thing from last night. So
Fair enough.
yeah. So with that all being said, I do not believe the narrative that if I buy a UFC, I'm saying UFC specifically. I'm not talking about Bellator. I'm not talking about LFA. I'm not talking about purchasing an ESPN subscription or UFC Fight Pass or whatever. I'm talking about Bellator. I mean, a UFC itself, right? You pay 80, what, $60 if standard definition, 80 to $90 after taxes for high def, right?
Oh damn.
The fighter pay is the same. Doesn't
Oh,
matter. Doesn't matter if they're, in what is it? I think they played Jacksonville, ViStar Arena, the first place after COVID, right? In
right.
July 2020, right? Doesn't matter if they're in Fight Island, doesn't matter if they're UFC Apex, doesn't matter if they're at the T-Mobile Arena or any of the places that they've played in the last 20 months, right?
Uh-huh.
The one thing that UFC has done to me, a notorious degree, is they've made every arena look the same, and they made the fighter pay the same, no matter where the fuck they are. They could be at, what is it, the Texas Stadium, right?
Right.
And the fighter pay will be the same. Maybe a little bit of a bump. Dana says, like, Dana White, pronouns pal. Dana White says, he's the, he gives backdoor bonuses and everything like that, and what have you. But I don't know. It's just what's being reported, right? You had Conor McGregor, right, who is arguably the biggest star that MMA, not just UFC, MMA as a whole, has ever produced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to angle a bit of ownership stake. They didn't give it, right? So if Conor McGregor can't get it, who the fuck else? Jimmy Blas from fucking Des Moines, Iowa? That's, 6-4 in his UFC debut? That's fighting 5-5, 5 to show, 5 to win, right? Which is not even going to cover his gym fees. If gym fees, arguably just for jiu-jitsu, can range from $300 to $500 a month, right? Yeah. Again, 10 to 15% off the top for your manager, right? You got to pay your corner. Like, it dwindled so rapidly, right? So the thing about Conor that most people forget is the fact that he's a guy, the biggest star in the business, right? He can't get it. But the UFC, its parent company, WME Endeavor, almost a year and a half after he's trying to angle for this deal where he gets ownership, well, guess what? It goes public on the strength of the year of 2020, which there was nothing going on, no production, none of the Hollywood stars happening. It was UFC's revenue from July 2020 to December 2020, right? I'm a shareholder of the UFC. You could be a shareholder of the UFC. What about Conor McGregor, right? What about all of these guys that have paid their blood, sweat, and tears that are now, suffering irreparable, traumatic brain injury, and, Don Fry, his back is all fucked up, and he's still trying to fight, like that's the ugly side of the sport, right? Is the fact that with all the glitz and glamour and everything like that, the fighter pay is relatively unchanged. I was talking to one of my friends, who's Stephen Paparocki. He fought as an amateur, and he was making 5 figures as an amateur.
Right.
Amateurs here in California make, because they follow the NCAA type of deal if you're an amateur, which is kind of followed suit with everything else. So, but that just because you're not making money doesn't mean you still don't have to sell tickets at $25 to $150 a pop, or $2,500 for a table with bottle service, what have you, right? It's all nuts. And the other thing about it is there's no linear way to get into UFC or Bellator, right? There's no NCAA farming system. There's whatever. They'll get somebody from Angola, and then they'll get somebody from LA that is from a reputable gym, then a wrestler from Ohio State, whatever. And that's cool, because the talent pool, before there used to be, Brazil, Japan, LA, Thailand, what have you, right? Now, elite level fighters, elite level promotions are popping up everywhere. Like at any time of the day. Going across my timeline is almost anxiety inducing, because I feel like I'm missing something. Somebody's always doing some cool shit. Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, even jiu-jitsu. There are people that are making like $250,000 just doing jiu-jitsu. Not even fighting, just doing jiu-jitsu in sponsorships, right? Yeah. So if you can make that there, but if you're outside the top 15 of the UFC or don't have that much of a following, you're not getting that in the UFC.
Yeah. It just seems like you would think that if you decided to get punched in the face for a living, they'll pay you a lot of money, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
No, but that was the the Diaz brothers, where they kind of fell out of sorts with Dana their first run, is because Dana would send the UFC countdown and the embedded crews, to hype up the fight to Stockton,
Right.
and you couldn't find him. You couldn't find him. They tell you one place, and then they're at another place and whatever. And he's like, oh, Dana was like, there's $25,000 of production, whatever that, whatever, and untold millions of what this thing was supposed to be for. That is basically I still have to pay with no content, right? But you kind of see the Diaz's thing. I mean, they've kind of gotten screwed by Dana. That the shit with Nick, right, who just fought this past Saturday, 5-year suspension for marijuana from Las
Right.
Vegas that every other state followed suit, and now he's a 38-year-old rather
Right.
than a 33-year-old
Yeah.
for something that was legalized like 6 months later. It's almost like the WCW Invasion storyline, right? Like they
Right.
ran the
Right.
fucking Invasion pay-per-view that was the biggest non-WrestleMania pay-per-view for the time, maybe in history, right?
Yeah.
Well, the NWO were going to show up 3 months later. You couldn't
Right.
wait. You couldn't
Well,
wait.
he had to kill it. He had to kill his own creation. That was how it worked. Don't roll
Owen
your eyes
Hart,
at me. That's what happened. Look,
Owen
man.
Hart, never forget. Speaking of killing.
So
So,
hold on. Okay. Okay. All right. I know you're an Owen Hart guy. I understand it was a tragic accident.
woo!
I won't go into wrestling thing so much because I understand you're such a dynamic individual, but you can talk about more of this at length on According to Woods. Even though I do feel it's kind of weird that AEW is using the Owen Hart brand. What are your thoughts about that, real quick?
Oh, love it. Just love it.
Do
And
you now?
yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
Because, wrestling fans are wrestling fans, right? They want Benoit in the Hall of Fame. Never
Not
happened.
gonna happen.
I never want it to happen. And then Owen in the Hall of Fame. And they're like, well, even Brett has like, well, I don't know what's, Martha's high horse and everything. But as much as I love Brett, you try to angle your wrestling footage from the WWE as a part of a settlement for your sister-in-law, your niece and nephew.
Okay.
That's pretty fucking shitty.
Okay.
That's pretty fucking shitty. So with that all being said, if you look at Martha has never liked wrestling. When she was dating Owen, when he was, when they were going to school in Calgary and high school and what have you, she did. I mean, but she liked the things that it afforded: trips to Germany, trips to Japan, all that stuff.
Okay.
At the time of his death, they were about to finish their dream house, right? So go back to Martha's book, Broken Hearts, and see how Owen died when he was pronounced dead at the Kansas City hospital, just because they had to cut off all the spandex. He died in his socks, naked in his socks,
Right.
right?
Understand.
So for her to come around, there's something that AEW has done. By virtue, that's one of the reasons why CM Punk went over. That nobody knew about Brody Lee or John Huber's death. What was he? Luke Harper of the WWE, right? Kept it under wraps. And that showed the integrity for a lot of people that were on the fence of where AEW or Tony Khan's intentions lied. And there you go. So I don't know. I don't know Martha. She's Dr. Martha Hart. She's done incredible things with the Owen Hart Foundation. I couldn't be more proud of her. Oj and Athena. Oj is, in England, studying law, international law, to fight injustices and whatever. Athena, she was 2 when her dad passed away, so she didn't even get that. So for her to basically allow, yes, it's AEW, yes, it's Tony Khan, but also the guys from the Dark Side of the Ring who have treated Owen with respect and her family and the story with respect. And then the guys with Pro Wrestling Tees, where I've gotten this, that was the first piece of Owen Hart merchandise since Enough is Enough, It's Time for a Change. It was shit from the WWF back in
Right.
'97, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
with that being said, I love it. Thank you, Tony Khan. Thank you, Dr. Martha Hart and the entire Martha Hart, Owen side of the Hart family. I don't think Brett or Ellie or anybody else are in part, but this is Martha's doing. And I think as an Owen Hart fan, it's cool to be able, in the wrestling realm, to get to appreciate it rather than him being a dirty little secret.
Moving on. Let's talk about it because it's a complicated situation, so I'm not gonna go into that. And I feel like it's well, I wasn't there. So moving on. We're talking about According to Woods. That you're back in the studio now. Shows are coming. You have a boatload, a crap load, a shit ton of content for the season. Myself, who's left, man? Who the hell is left on the list? And how do you determine who's left?
I don't determine. I just who's like I'm not doing anything this week aside from this and maybe Voodoo
Thanks.
in the Woods, which I do with Payasinilo Lobo, former U of MMA champion, and we break down UFC fights pre and post. Got some cool shit going down with a writer in the woods on the Empty the Bench Sports Network with Thomas J. Albano from Fan-Sided and MMA Prospects. We are doing a show kind of breaking down the UFC, just talking about MMA and pro wrestling in general. But we set up a Twitter account, and I think it's more Tom than I. But one person who cannot be seen, it's a verified account, followed us already.
Ooh, I wonder who that could be.
I. I don't know.
You fruity pebbles. So yeah, what's the dream list look like? Who's left? Who's like the ones you're like, oh man,
I don't I don't think in those deals. I'm honored. Like even I didn't have to be. It's a weird that a promotion was never in is promoting him. I
agreed.
yes, but again, there's mitigating circumstances, right? Because obviously they're not going to be able to get the footage, but they're going to have footage from New Japan because there's a working relationship there. Most people forget Owen Hart is a former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, so they can do that. There's probably home, photographs, of him in the ring that they could kind of use and splice together. I mean, Brody Lee was there, what, 6 weeks, maybe?
Yeah.
Right? And look at
Yeah.
what they did for him. Arguably one of the classiest send-offs in wrestling history by my self-estimation. It took a little bit of Japan, when Bruce, the boots in the ring deal, and to have, you know, -1, the two of John Huber's sons, Amanda Huber, like it's just great. Like again, the fact this could have never happened at all, and that's where I go into it because we had, like, I felt guilty going like my favorite Mania is Mania 10, right, with Brett.
Okay. Yeah.
So Brett Owen starts off, then we get Owen wins, with the loogie talking to Chad Pettingale, whatever.
Yeah.
Then we get the continuation of the supposed double, Royal Rumble spot with Luger and Brett, and they wrap that up. Brett goes on to face Yoko and what have you, and then Brett beats Yoko, slips on a banana peel, beats Yoko, what have you. And, the big pomp and circumstance, and Owen Hart comes out and is like, Randy Savage is like literally, holding the ropes down so Owen could come in. And it's just like, no. And he fucking, that disdain in Owen's voice and face. And that's kind of that, and the fireworks with Brett being hoisted above everyone's shoulder. Even Burt Reynolds is shaking Brett's hand, right? One of my favorite fucking manias ever. But I will watch the YouTube version so I don't give money. I don't watch Owen in the confines of WWE. And to me, it's a principle thing.
Yeah. What's the principle? I don't understand.
I'm not.
You just said a minute ago you're a shareholder. So what's the principle?
It's the principle. I'm not viewing Owen on WWE
Yeah.
news shit.
Okay. But
I'd rather give it to a third party.
right. But you
I'm not going to stop watching Mania 10.
No, you literally said on this show half an hour ago that you're a shareholder. Like
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
you bought into the machine.
Yeah, that's
Why?
because. So I do it because when people are like, "Oh, you just shit on fucking Roman Reigns," I was like, "I'm a shareholder, so I actually want it to do well, but it's kind of shit." And I'm not saying Joe Anawahi, right? Like the whole bloodline. I mean, they are doing the best work of their career,
Yeah.
right? But it's how long has Roman been on main roster?
Main roster, I would say what 6 years maybe?
6 to 8 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
WrestleMania 32 was the I'll say 5, 6 years. Yeah.
Okay. So with that all being said, right? What piece of content, right? Especially in so many ways that kind of angle for your patronage, right? Netflix, Hulu, every streaming service, everything on Facebook that it's behind a paywall or not behind a paywall. Fucking shit that you watch on your phone when you go to the shit, or right? There's so many ways and avenues for entertainment, like this very fucking podcast, right?
I agree with that.
Right?
I agree with everything you're saying.
So 8 years to get here, 6 years to get here. If Breaking Bad took 6 years, if The Wire took 6 years,
It did.
if Flobo took 6 years to finally do the best work of your career,
Taking me 14 years.
yeah, but you had iterations before this very thing. Like
Fair
this,
enough.
yeah.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
so that's what I'm saying. Roman has existed as he's existed for a little over half a decade
Okay.
for it just to get good, right? So for me, it's kind of, again, I'm about the principle. It might be skewed, I admit, but that's for me.
But what is the principles I'm trying to figure out? Like the
I
principle
can shit
is
on Roman Reigns, the character, not Joanna Wahi, the
Right.
person,
right.
and say, hey, I actually want him to do well because I make money if they do, but it's shit. And then again, not watching Owen on WWE stuff, and that's kind of the reason why I was pissed at the whole Finn Balor thing. Hopefully, it was a botch and somebody fucked up and whatever. But this is a pay-per-view. You should be better with your rigging to not allow that to happen. And if it was a spot, the same ideologies about the spot is what Owen. They didn't want him fidgeting around with his harness, right? They wanted a quick either Vince Russo or Vince McMahon, right? Or both of them wanted a quick release shackle. That basically release, sending Owen a couple 100 feet to his untimely passing, right? So for me, like I said, shit, vegans kill plants.
Oh no, here we go.
Okay,
don't
vegans
don't
kill
do it, brother.
plants, right?
The vegan horde will rise up and take you away.
No,
It will
100%.
come to
No,
your door with
all I'm
pitchforks
saying is everybody
and
has a
hemp-based
justification.
swords.
Everybody has a justification for which they do. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. I don't eat chicken. It's looking like, what the fuck? Yeah, 100%. I get that a lot. No, like I'm a Fijian and you know, an African descendant slave. I don't eat chicken on a bone.
I don't understand. What is that? What does one thing have to do with the other?
It's a principle. I'll eat chicken breast, thigh,
Okay.
whatever. Not.
But what does African have to do with eating chicken off the bone? I don't understand the connection.
There's a certain je ne sais quoi that says like we like fried chicken.
We do. It's amazing.
Right,
It's
exactly.
great.
I just can't have it on a bone. So I remember there was like 9 of us in a house. Like me, my cousins, my uncles, aunts, me, my mom, my sister, all of the kids, all in one place. So the best thing that we could make every night was chicken curry, right? Because bag of rice, 20-pound bag of rice is like $8, right?
Sure.
A parcel of a carton of chicken, right? $20, right? Curry packet, 69 cents. Potatoes, another $1.50, right? So I would always be, as a fat kid, I would always be the first to the curry bowl, right? And I would get copious amounts of fucking curry, right?
Copious.
Now, my cousin just started going, bok, 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 bok. Little did he know that the day earlier, I mean, not the day earlier, just earlier in the day, we had gone to Venice Beach, and there was a PETA table. People with ethical treatment of animals, whatever. And they were showing the fucking factory farms and whatever. For some reason, I equated, in my mind, the chicken on the bone with the chicken that I saw, and it fucking grossed me out. So I can't see chicken or turkey or anything prepared.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you kind of like, yo, because I'm black, I don't eat chicken on the bones. Like, I'm supposed to be shocked. Like, oh, but you black. It doesn't make
And Fijian. My folks are cannibals, fuckers.
Well, okay, I'll counter that, but first I want to say that Jazz Beat says, "Hello, Adam. Nice to see you again. Owen deserves to get honored, and pretty cool AEW is doing for him." So, and Charlene says, "Who doesn't like
Yes.
chicken wings?" Now, for me, because my literal my lineage on my dad's side were butchers and fishermen, I almost feel like I honor them by having flesh. But if someone's vegan now, I'm in my 30s, I'm like, if you're vegan, cool. More meat for me. Like, I'll
Yeah.
just have my share. But again, it's everyone that
Yeah.
works for you.
Whatever
Yeah,
floats your boat. It's
yeah.
Peter
But
scares you.
my cousins actually raised chickens, so I saw them,
Yeah,
having
butcher.
to take them
Yeah,
down.
and
So.
again, that's the thing. Like whatever it is, right? Like my weird kind of equating Owen for AEW and being a shareholder and shitting on Roman Reigns. It's something that makes me feel good. I'm not saying
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm the Pied Piper and everybody fuck. No, no. Like I'm the If you're listening to me
yeah,
for fucking advice,
I
something
am.
might be wrong.
It's actually a question I had pre-written, and it's literally, what's the thing you do that most people find weird? And those are a couple. Do you have anything more?
God, there's so many.
You're like, no one's ever asked me that. Well, I'm
Yeah, no,
asking
no, yeah,
now.
no one's ever asked me that, but like, I don't know, and I don't do drugs or whatever, but I've spent like I bought. So let's just go inventory, right? I've got a bunch of fucking World of MMA figures and plastic cells, which are these cool things that are little resin figures. I bought a sauna when everybody was talking about Xbox and blah 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 whatever. I bought a sauna for $150, $150 on
Whoa.
Facebook Marketplace. There's two
Can
panels that are out, and I can replace it, whatever. But now it's a glorified storage. I bought a Rogue Assault bike, two pug, like dogs. Done close to 500 episodes of a podcast. What else?
Not weird.
Invested in stocks. Like went hard
Okay.
in the paint, and that might be my living right now.
To the moon.
Yeah, to the fucking moon, man. Like I get obsessive about things, and that's it. And after I get obsessive, and when I'm done with it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I think that's weird. Like I don't have that. Like oh my god. Like I because I maybe had so much loss growing up as a kid, right? Loss of friends, family, whatever, and even through adulthood. I do not like if my wife walked out the door, I'd be like, I understand, and she'd get
I'm
eighty
not.
percent. She'd get 80%. I'll live off the 20. I'll figure it out. I'll do the fucking van life and shit as long as her and the kids are good, whatever. I do, like if you were like fucking. Actually, there was a time that I'm gonna clue people in where you fucking messaged me like, call me, bro. What the fuck is going on? You were
Oh
genuinely
well.
concerned,
I.
which I love Flobo for this. James Lott Jr. did the fucking same, Like, you guys are fucking. George Ramosa, Steve Kaufman. Like, you guys are fucking amazing. You guys are heroes, but then you guys are my family. But it's that. Like, I kind of don't give a shit. Like, the fact that I don't care if I get a verified check mark. I don't care if anybody watches or listens to the podcast. I'm doing it kind of for me, but I also doing it for them. There might be something. I love you too, James. I love you, bro. I love you, Flobo.
Whatever.
I love
Whatever.
everybody in the fucking chat. You guys are amazing, and don't let anyone tell you different. I've said over the last 6 weeks, I've said I love you to more people than I ever have before. Then I've also said fuck you. I never want to see you again to a couple people too.
Not the same people, I hope.
No, not the same people.
Okay.
Not the same people.
Got
But
it.
I mean, those people dutifully deserved those motherfuckers and fucks you. But yeah, it's just like the truth. The truth comes out.
Yeah, that's all we can ask for, man. That's all we can ask for. But a phone call can't hurt anybody. Try to see you're doing all right.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. I was
I,
going off. My memes were like off the chain. But that was also I couldn't. There was a point I couldn't talk. Like right around. Oh, hey, Wood, I love you, bro.
I love you.
Yeah, exactly. Leave it alone.
This is after hours. Okay, okay.
Yeah, no cock. But if you have foreskin, I heard it's docking. I don't. Kudos to the people that subscribe. I don't care. Like awesome LGBT. Like
You
amazing.
put me in a bad position. I'm gonna be like, oh hell yeah, it's docking. I have no idea what I'm gonna say.
Look, I mean, I remember.
Totally talking, bro.
So
Totally.
kava, we have this thing in the islands called kava, right? Other islands call it different, but Fiji we call it kava. It's ground up
Okay.
root. Get like it makes you all a little weird and whatever. But my cousin and I were fucking drinking kava and whatever, and we was just like talking about dumb shit. And he was like, I wonder if two dudes who might be of the LBGTQ, whatever, they both had foreskins, and I wonder if they can fuck each other. And then I was like, let me see, because Google exists. We Urban Dictionary docking, so 10 points.
Well, it's kind of a wrong time to tell you that. This is an award-winning program. What's a Flobo After Hours? Because my interviewing skills are top notch. Adam Woods, before we get canceled by so many different groups in one episode, are you down to play a game?
Okay.
Okay.
Please
This
don't
one,
tell me fuck, marry, kill, because like I've got a wife and
I actually hate that game. I
Okay.
hate of all like the stupid games out there. F Marry Kill is the what does that even mean? All right, I will kill you, but I would marry you. I don't get it. All right, but this one here, it's classic. It's called favorite things. I'm gonna ask you some things. You tell me what your favorite of each category, right?
Okay.
Not too offensive. Besides the vegan thing, yeah.
I love vegan food.
I don't know what I mean. I love vegan food, but it definitely has to be a thing I have to be mentally prepared for. Like I can't be hungry and you're like, yo, let's get some vegan food. You gotta be like, yo, next Friday we're going to a vegan restaurant. Prepare mentally.
I do vegan food like I do like Thai food or Mexican food. It's just a type of food and a culture that that I'm glad to live in a place like LA where you can just get it whenever the fuck. So yeah.
Crazy times. Let's go. What is your favorite beverage, good sir?
Orange juice and even Tang, but fuck the Tampico.
What Tampico's got here? What is wrong with you? Oh, Tang?
Yeah,
What are you, Tang?
Tang. I used to eat that shit up. Actually, fun little story.
Tampico.
Quick story. The first time I knew my sister might have been evil, Saturday morning cartoons, like we would eat it, whatever, out the can. Her and I think I might have been first grade. She might have not even been in school. And then my parents put it on the top shelf, right? So we did like almost a fucking acrobatic shit where we got a chair, she stood on my shoulders, I stood on the chair, and we had a broom and we knocked the Tang. And then the Tang fucking falls. My parents go, what the fuck happened? Why is the Tang on the floor? Before they could even go out, my sister, on one fell swoop, jumps off of my shoulders, throws the damn broom, and then gets into the Tang and starts crying, right? And then my mom was like, oh my God, my baby, my Luvengu, blah, blah, blah. And as they turn the corner, my sister, who is in diapers, goes, and I was like, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, as a younger sibling, I'll probably do the same exact thing. So, what's the favorite thing you tell your wife?
Ooh, she's hot.
Okay. I mean, you should. You should.
Yes, I mean, it's like
Tell him,
I
honey.
thought, almost like fuck Carl Anderson, the machine gun, because his gimmick is like his hot Asian wife. I wanted to make that that's not the only thing that I wanted to trademark, the hot Asian wife. And about 2000, I was like wrestling god and then fucking JBL. So like those are the two missed opportunities, if anything.
I actually like JBL. The rest of another thing you were saying. Favorite mobile game?
The AEW one.
The manager one.
Yeah.
I have to check it out. I haven't done it yet. Favorite team sport athletes, not combat sports, but like team sports.
All right, I'm gonna go with. Oh, can I do 3?
Hit me.
Okay, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Colin Kaepernick.
That okay.
Also,
all right.
Matt Barnes. I like Matt Barnes. I just love him. So yeah, Matt Barnes.
I got 5 more for you. Favorite moment in wrestling in the last 5 years.
AEW's creation.
Okay. Favorite rapper of all time.
God, I don't listen to the hippity hop anymore.
I know. That's why I asked you.
So DMX slipping. Holy shit, slipping got me out of so many I mean, there are times in high school where I was like about to commit suicide. I thought my life whatever, and hearing slipping like the flesh of my flesh, the blood of my blood record.
Yeah.
Nothing else. To me, that stands with the Beatles' White Album, whatever. Like,
Oh, wow.
that it hit me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna say DMX.
For sure.
I don't like the N words. Don't like the N words in any type
It
of racial epithets, but like DMX.
it's funny because that word doesn't offend me, but I understand. Moving on. Favorite gifts a kid or your grandkid has ever given you?
Them being born.
Is that really a gift though?
Is it? Yes.
It
My
totally is. I'm
okay,
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
so
kidding. I'm
my
kidding.
wife went through, like you saw how big my kid's head is, and she got a C-section scar, just like I gave my mom a C-section scar.
Me too.
My daughter, birthed my wonderful grandson Abel. So yeah, just them being born, all four of my kids, my one grandchild, them being born has given me purpose. I don't think I would have done anything without my wife and kids. So that's the greatest gift.
I
Is
was
them being
kidding,
born.
JLJ. I know it's a gift, man. Jesus. Favorite thing about
Sound
your
like
hometown?
grandpa.
Yeah. Both the grandpa. Favorite thing about your hometown?
San Francisco or Inglewood?
Your hometown. Fighting out
So
of.
as- I'm gonna say Inglewood. I was born in San Francisco,
Okay.
but okay.
Inglewood.
Everybody, and you're a New Yorker, and
Hey, bada boom.
right? But the euphemism that if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right?
Right.
But for West Coast, I feel like Inglewood is that way. Inglewood, Compton, Watts, Long Beach, all of those like seemingly horrible places, like socioeconomically deprived places that people always like to no good and everything like that, whatever. If you make it out of there and you make it or and come back successful or
Yeah.
stay there and not get into any of the gangs, the drugs or whatever, or even make your way back from gangs, drugs and whatever and rehab your life, like that's amazing. So yeah, that's it. I think if you can make it in England, you can make it in anywhere.
You know,
It breeds of people.
what's funny for me is like moving here to California. It really blew my mind as a New Yorker that no one really pronounced Inglewood correct. People from Inglewood never pronounce Inglewood correctly. It's always like, "Hey man, where you from?" It's like, "Oh, I'm from
Yeah.
Inglewood." You're like, "Bro, I just asked a town. No one does that." Okay, whatever. Lastly, favorite junk food.
God, I want to say Doritos right off, whatever, but like, I mean,
It's not
there's so
junk.
many. Like,
Delicacy.
fucking pizza. There's everything that would impair me from fucking doing jujitsu and not shitting myself. If somebody's on top of me, right? Tacos, burritos, like all of that stuff. I don't think, to me, I think tacos are healthy, like al fresco and whatever. But some people are like, if you're a dietitian, that's not good for you, blah blah blah.
I
But
like the
like,
taste of them.
yeah, fucking Korean barbecue, like Doritos, like ice cream. I love it all. Like, I'm a fat kid at heart. I'm still fat.
Oh yeah,
I
fat kids for life.
Yeah, I gotta fuck myself. I'm all with body positivity, but I'm a fat fuck, and I need to unfat fuck myself.
That is succinct. I like it because yeah, because I can't undo it. Either I'm gonna try to work really hard so I can do that one day every week, but if you can figure it out the key, let me know.
The key.
So I got a question here from Jazz. It says, this question is for Adam. Lastly, I know that your favorite WWE moment was WrestleMania 10, but what's your favorite Lucha Libre moment? As we head out of here today?
Ooh, man, I really enjoyed the rise of Mystico. Right, the first Sin Cara.
Okay.
He was one of the guys that I was like, he could make it. He could make it
Agree.
in the WWE.
I agree.
And
I love for Sin Cara.
yeah, politics and also his ego kind of thwarted him, but also Negro Casas. I'm a big catch wrestling guy, right? When you're talking about pro wrestling, when you're talking about MMA, whatever pro wrestling, Negro Casas, like people don't think lucha libre, but Negro Casas is one of the most talk about succinct catch wrestlers there are in Mexican form. He's Billy Robinson in Mexican form, So like I would say, just Negro Casas, just watching him work and the rise of Mystico.
What that's it, man. Put the nice button on it. Adam Woods, always a pleasure on Wassup Flobo After Hours, man. I'm so glad you come with here to talk with you. I want to hear more of your weird stuff. I gotta get you back on an episode soon. Probably do a second half of this. I get to answer like half of my questions. That's how crazy it was. The hours came and went. You know the deal. You gotta tell everybody where to find you and promote my book. promote my book. How you go about doing that? How can people find you online, man?
According to Woods, across the board, I think It's a little bit different for Twitter. It's Adam K. Woods on Twitter, but if you put in According to Woods, you'll find This Face for Radio. You can find the podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as it's currently there. I'll probably do an audio-only version to some point or whatever, but I don't like editing. Because you're great. I just love you. Mario Yamasaki's. But yeah, everywhere else, you can even put in the Google machine, According to Woods, and I pop up.
That's a brand.
That's fucking weird.
Dude, it took me 10 years to put Flobo Voice in there and not have the Flow bots put up, so I totally get it. It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So there, but I mean, as we're ending, again, a great read, Graduation Day by one at Flobo Voice. It's amazing.
It's all right, man.
I'm just saying.
That picture in the back, though, is dope. I got to give a shout out to Richard Ronsley. I look like such an eligible bachelor there. Hey, ladies.
You look like I don't know, like you could be the pastor of Faithful Central, is what I'm saying.
I'll be the worst pastor ever, even though I'm an ordained minister.
Same me. Oh, Sam Kinison he was about to be a minister, so I think it's okay. In the church of Kinison, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it is. He's true when he says the alphabet. It works. All right, that does it for me. We'll be back here next week with a brand new episode of What's Up Flobo After Hours. You got to follow According to Woods. He is doing the big thing. He is back in the studio. So if you know somebody you want him to interview, let him know. Check out Graduation Day on Amazon. But until next time, After Hours are closed.
The bed is still